Hey everyone, thanks for joining. Austin here again. And in this video, we're going to understand a little bit more about the shipping and drop shipping. So let's get started. All right, so with shipping and drop shipping, this is kind of one of the, I would say, the top question we get from a lot of our customers, if not top three, because it really is kind of a little bit difficult to understand, but once you understand it, it's actually quite simple, but it's really hard to perfect. So let's dive in and let's talk a little bit more about shipping and drop shipping and things you're going to need to know. So obviously the first thing is it's a little confusing. So it's no surprise that figuring out your shipping policies with drop ship products can be a little bit confusing because the products are coming from another source. They're not coming from you, they're coming from your drop ship supplier. Now, this is the biggest part, and we're going to talk about this a lot, and this is researching what suppliers you're using. So if you are using US-based suppliers, right, and there's a bunch of different ways that they're going to be shipping products, could be off of your own carrier accounts, could be off of the supplier's carrier accounts, you need to know how it's coming to your customer. You need to know. So definitely research exactly how your suppliers are shipping those products. Now, when coming up with a shipping policy of your own, you have a few options. So there's a bunch of different ways that you can kind of digest and provide shipping to your customers. And we're going to talk a little bit more about that as well. All right, so number one, when it comes to deciding on a shipping policy, a lot of guys, they do free shipping. So free shipping is great, and as you browse the web, you'll notice a lot of e-commerce stores advertising free shipping. Now, in order to recoup the costs when offering free shipping, a lot of store owners, what they do is they mark up their pricing for their products just a little bit more to kind of compensate on the shipping costs. It's very common to see a lot of e-commerce stores that do free shipping. And when you're starting out, you really want to be competitive with your products, selling different various ranges of pricing points. Could be small, really cheap products, could be really expensive products, and providing free shipping for the cheaper ones versus the expensive ones, it can be kind of hard. So one thing that we've seen with a lot of customers that I would definitely suggest looking into is offering free shipping off of us once you go past a certain amount for your cart total. So a lot of guys, what they do is they offer free shipping for anybody that spends over $100. So that way the margin of the order volume is enough to cover the shipping costs, and it's still going to give you profit. Obviously that's the big thing there. You don't want to be losing money for every transaction, and with shipping it's going to be hard. It really is. So there is the option of free shipping, a bunch of different ways that you can do it. Inventory source specifically, some of you guys might be customers of us. We have different tools to add in shipping costs to your retail price, so you can provide free shipping, such as markups off of product weight, markups off of dimensional weight. Some suppliers actually have a specific shipping fee for each product line item, so you can actually include the shipping cost as well. Sometimes suppliers are really good about that, some aren't. So like I said, the research of the supplier. Free shipping is a very common thing to see in the e-commerce realm. Now, the second option is a flat rate shipping. So flat rate shipping is when you offer prices for all your shipping, no matter the weight of the product, but it's just flat rate. So anything 0 to 5 pounds, $3.95 shipping. Anything 5 to 10, $5.95 shipping. Anything above 10, $9.95 shipping. Stuff like that. That's flat rate shipping. This is appealing to customers because they really know what to expect when they're purchasing products. And every time they go to checkout, it's the same time. It's a large risk for the online store owner just because you're not doing exactly how the product is going to be shipped. Again, it's a little bit harder when it's coming from a different source, so make sure you do your research. So to try to keep the weight of the products as low as possible, and with dropship inventory management tools like Inventory Source, you can filter out the products that are a little bit easier to sell with a lower product weight. We've seen that a lot with guys that want to sell products and they want to keep good margins. Shipping costs is a huge deal, so they don't offer products that have very large weights. It could be dimensional weights, could be just regular product weights. That's one thing that a lot of guys filter out, and then they provide this flat rate shipping. So it's entirely up to you. This is another common option. And then the third one, and this is a little bit trickier to kind of do, but if you do it, it's kind of perfecting it with your supplier, It's matching your supplier's costs for shipping. It's probably the safest option you want to do as a business owner, but you have to do a lot of research and you got to kind of make it exactly as what the supplier provides. So the downside here is it's hard to compete with other stores in the same niche that is offering free shipping or other incentives or lower shipping costs. So that's really the downside here. Matching the supplier costs, we always like to say that with our customers. So understand what they're shipping on, right? Is it UPS? Okay, great. You just offer UPS on your store or on your marketplace that you're selling on. So matching it, you're going to know exactly how it's going to be shipped out. A lot of guys, we're in this free shipping realm. Amazon Prime, right? Everybody goes to Amazon to buy stuff. Everybody goes to eBay to buy stuff, and a lot of times you're buying stuff for products that have free shipping because you know exactly what price you're getting this at. You're not, getting some crazy shipping costs. So matching your supplier's cost is really going to ensure that you're selling product price for exactly what you're buying the product at, as well as how it's going to be shipped and how much it's going to cost you. But there is some downside to it. Now, these are the most three common. One's not better than the other. It just depends on how you want to market your e-commerce store. But majority of the times, this is what we see from customers. So that's deciding on the shipping policy. Now, this is something you want to consider on how you want to ship products, because there's different ways on how you can ship products. It's not just the supplier shipping products off of their own accounts. There's supplier shipping off of your accounts as well. So, here's some things to definitely consider. So once you're deciding on a shipping policy, you can consider what you want to ship your products at. So most suppliers, they ship off of their own accounts. So it could be FedEx, could be UPS, could be USPS. And a large majority of them will also let you ship off of your own carrier account. Usually when you see suppliers that allow you to ship off of your own carrier account, those are legit suppliers. They're definitely, the good ones to kind of keep around. They understand the needs and the barriers for shipping and drop shipping. So a lot of guys, they definitely let you ship off of your own carrier account. So it's deciding on which ones you want to do. Do you want to take on the cost and ship off of your own carrier account? Do you want to ship off the supplier's carrier account? It's deciding that, right? So how do you choose? Well, by using the supplier's account, they often have pre-negotiated lower rates. So the pre-negotiated lower rates, it may be cheaper on them. But on the other hand, by using a supplier's carrier account, you have less insight into the shipping costs and to ensure the remaining profitability as opposed to your other carrier account. So shipping off a supplier carrier account, it's great. You kind of understand, what it's being shipped as for the most part, and you're not taking on these weird different costs that, UPS might have or FedEx might have, whatever. You just have less insight in the shipping costs, and it may be cheaper, right? They actually might have cheaper rates than you do because you might be just getting started, right? These guys have built this relationship with UPS to get great rates or FedEx to get great rates. So it just depends. Ask the supplier, ask them what their shipping rates are. Some other things you want to kind of keep in mind for the supplier carrier account. Is really, what's the most expensive shipping cost? As you see here in the middle, off of your own carrier account, like I said, you get more insight on the shipping cost to ensure that you're profitable. But the supplier might ship it cheaper because they have a better relationship with the carrier accounts. So again, the main thing to consider is what's the most expensive shipping costs. So ask that. Average shipping expense per order, another very important thing to consider. Numerous warehouse could affect the shipping costs. So you have suppliers that have warehouses, all across the country. Might only have one warehouse. You never know. Ask that question. And then the average shipping times as well. So if you want to stay competitive with shipping costs, it's important to know that shipping costs could give you the biggest hit. So again, with that most expensive shipping costs, I would definitely consider the cheaper one, right? You want to make some more money. The average shipping expense, knowing the average shipping cost per order will kind of give you an idea on where to set your prices, and you're going to be making a reasonable profit. So you can base your whole shipping policy around the average shipping cost and expect that's what you'll be charged the majority of the time. So another, kind of way of identifying which one's better than the others, a good one there. And The numerous warehouse effect on shipping costs, it's really important. Some people don't realize this. There are some suppliers that are just based on the East Coast, just based on the West Coast, just based in the South, just based in the North. Their warehouses are only there, let's say, the East Coast, up in the New England area, right? It's the only warehouse place that I got, and you get a customer that purchases down in Southern California, right? That's going to be a huge shipping cost in regards to distance, regardless of the weight of the products. So identifying if they have numerous warehousing, is a really big thing to consider. We have suppliers that have warehouses on the West Coast and on the East Coast, warehouses west, east, and in the middle of the country, just to ensure that, whenever something gets shipped out to a specific customer, it's coming from the right warehouse, so shipping cost is low. So that's one thing to consider. And again, ask your supplier. I can't tell you how important it is to ask your supplier and understand their shipping policies. That's the whole thing with dropshipping. Dropshipping has kind of had this mold of quick access to products, start selling, boom, you're going to be a millionaire. All the gurus and videos out there, I've said this before, but when you're utilizing US based suppliers, it's really important to build that B2B relationship with them. It's really important. I mean, you're a business, then build the business and build the relationships and ask the hard questions. What are your shipping costs? How much do you charge? How expensive is it to do your account versus my own carrier account? Things like that. Ask those questions and really do your research to figure all that out. So additionally, when first initializing and choosing a supplier, like I said, do some research. It's really important to do some research on the average shipping costs. That way you're making sure the customer is aware of long shipping and how it'll take, which will help you purchase and experience. That's the whole thing, is a purchasing experience from your customer. You want to ensure that you're getting that repeat customer. So you want to ensure that you have the best shipping times. It's very key for drop shipping. So quick shipping times, cheap shipping rates, and making sure that they come back because they got a good deal and they got a good experience. So that's a huge thing with shipping. And there's a bunch of different ways to kind of, jump in and research shipping. I'm going to jump out real quick and show you guys a little bit of a few examples. So I took you into the Supplier Directory, and I actually selected US Direct. US Direct is our sister department. You've seen other videos. It's a dropship aggregator where we have accounts with all of these suppliers right here listed. One thing I wanted to show you, that some suppliers do have shipping costs within their feed. So for instance, if I select this product here, if I scroll down here in the Supplier Directory, I can see that there's a shipping cost here. So US Direct provides flat rate shipping. I mean, that's huge. That's big for drop shipping. So understanding that if a supplier does just flat rate shipping for your products, that's kind of a steal. It's kind of a good deal. So, I would definitely work with that supplier or highly consider working with them. So this one does flat rate shipping. Some suppliers, they don't have their shipping costs within the feed, but they might have height, width, and length. Now, height, width, and length kind of all comes together in as this dimensional weight. And I'm not sure if you've heard about dimensional weight, but something could weigh a lot, but could be really small. And that means their dimensional weight is relatively low, so the shipping cost is relatively low. But if you do a weight tier markup off of weight, and you do, high weights, high costs, then you could be kind of, making it a little bit too pricey, because majority of the times dimensional weight is what suppliers' shipping costs are all based off of for carrier accounts specifically. So USPS, UPS, FedEx, all those guys, they go off a dimensional weight. It all depends on how big is that box and how much space is it going to take in my trucks or planes or however it's being shipped, right? So identifying dimensional weight is huge. If a supplier has dimensional weight, you're kind of in another ballpark of like, okay, this is a good supplier. So for instance, let's say US Direct didn't have shipping costs, flat rate shipping, but they had dimensional weight. You could do markups in inventory source specifically, or you could do your own deal where you can do markups off of dimensional weight and provide that free shipping. So it's another big thing to consider. And looking through suppliers, in the supplier directory, it always makes sense to kind of look at their shipping costs, but really you want to reach out to the supplier. You want to ask exactly what their shipping policies are. Majority of the times they have shipping policies on their front site, or they provide it to you as an approved dealer. So make sure to do that and to work with your supplier on that, because that's huge. You want to work with a supplier that's got good shipping policies. Another kind of last thing to consider is, if you're doing a lot of things off of your own carrier accounts and you're trying to decide which carrier account to use, go check out the carrier accounts calculated pricing and the calculators on the different carrier accounts. So for instance, USPS, they have their own shipping calculators. FedEx, they have their own shipping calculators as well. UPS, they have their own shipping calculators. Go work. They actually have, FedEx is really cool. UPS is really cool, where they have these calculators that helps you decide on, what products you want to sell based off of weight and shipping shipping costs. So you can come in and be like, okay, if things are shipping from the West Coast to the East Coast and it weighs this much, how much am I looking at? How much am I looking at with UPS? And this is really going to help you decide on which one to use if you want to be shipping off your own carrier accounts. Again, it's deciding on, one, if the supplier can do that, if they can ship off of the dealer, your own carrier accounts, or if you're only set in stone and shipping off of the supplier's carrier accounts. So deciding on those two is a really big deal, and then deciding on which one of these carrier accounts you want to use. And again, just took you over to the calculators for the different carrier accounts. Make sure to check that out. I would say the big thing right now, if you don't know the shipping policy of your supplier, go reach out to them. Go to their shipping policies. It's probably on the footer of their website. It might be in the header. There's a lot of suppliers out there, and I would say majority of the ones that I've worked with, I've talked to, they have very specific shipping policies, and understanding kind of what I went through and lining that up with what suppliers you're utilizing, understanding that, it will definitely give you ammo to identify and set up the shipping within your e-commerce store. That's another thing to kind of consider too with setting up shipping in the e-commerce store. Shopify, BigCommerce, some of those hosted platforms, they have great ways they have shipping calculators already embedded. You can decide on which shipping methods you want to use. They kind of have inherent plugins. WordPress, WooCommerce, Magento, it's a little bit more, there's some plugins that you can use, or you can kind of set up your own shipping policies. There's different ways of kind of helping out. I'm 100% sure that all these e-commerce platforms have some type of documentation to help you out. They have some type of plugins to help you out with shipping policies. It's kind of becoming more and more easier, I guess, per se, to set up shipping policies and making sure that you're selling products for the best shipping costs as well. So make sure to go check that out. If you have any questions, reach out to us, solutions@inventorysource.com. Go to inventorysource.com and go to contact us, get started, sign up for a free account. If you have any questions, definitely reach out to us.